Welcome to the deep dive. Let's jump straight in. We're tackling something I bet has crossed your mind, maybe even recently. Is it actually possible to live, a dream life without spending any money?
Right.
Because think about it. So many things you might want, traveling, a creative project, even just feeling secure. It often feels like they're blocked by, well, finances. You might be juggling debt, or maybe savings just aren't really there, and there's that background worry about stability. It can really feel like you're, well, stuck.
Yeah, that feeling is so common, isn't it? Being held back financially is completely understandable. The whole money thing can seem pretty overwhelming.
Totally.
But that's exactly what we're digging into today. We've got this really fascinating experiment someone did. They actually tried to live their dream life for a whole week.
Yeah.
Zero budget.
Wow. Okay. $0.
$0. And they were looking at people like, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett for some kind of inspiration.
Interesting mix.
Right. So our mission here in this deep dive is to unpack the practical stuff from this experiment, see how it links up with what these successful people went through, and hopefully help you see if maybe that fulfilling life is closer than you think, even with the real money limits you might be facing.
Okay, so let's get right to it then. Those financial barriers. It's almost like a given, isn't it? That the dream life, well,
Okay.
it costs money. You hear that everywhere.
Oh, absolutely. It's so baked into how we think. And I mean, look at the numbers. It's easy to see why you'd feel that way. Take debt, for instance.
Yeah.
In 2024, U.S. consumer debt hit, what, $17.5 trillion? It's just huge.
Trillion. Wow.
An average credit card debt, something like $6,000,
Mhm.
offer with interest rates over 20%. That's a massive weight. It can definitely make thinking about anything else feel, well, impossible.
It really does. Feels like all your energy just goes into managing payments. But it's interesting you mentioned Musk. Even someone like him, Mr. SpaceX and Tesla now, he faced enormous debt early on. Didn't he personally borrow like $40 million just to keep things going? That sounds absolutely terrifying
Right.
for anyone.
It was incredibly risky, no doubt.
Yeah.
But what's maybe useful for you to think about is how it shows that debt, sometimes when it's strategic, when there's a really clear vision behind it, it can actually be a tool.
A tool. Debt.
Yeah, a tool to move you forward, even if it feels like it's crushing you. The big difference seems to be the purpose. Musk wasn't just running up credit cards for random stuff. It was this calculated, okay, very high stakes, but calculated bet on his ideas.
Right.
So the takeaway for you isn't go get into massive debt, obviously, but maybe it's thinking about how even financial burdens can sometimes be part of a bigger plan if you approach them with a real intention.
That's a really good point. Intention. Okay, so debt can be a tool, maybe. What about the flip side? Lack of savings. That's another huge one for so many people. I saw this stat. 2023, over a third of Americans couldn't even cover a $400 emergency.
Yeah.
When you're living that close to the edge, chasing a dream feels almost irresponsible, doesn't it?
It really does. It creates this very real barrier to taking any kind of risk. If one surprise bill could derail everything. Yeah, leaving a stable job or investing in something new feels paralyzing.
Totally.
And this is where someone like Warren Buffett gives you a different angle. His whole life, he's focused on saving. Started super early, bought a farm as a teenager.
A farm. Wow.
It just shows you the power of consistently putting aside even small amounts. It's about building that buffer, that safety net, no matter how small it starts.
Right, the long game. It's
Yeah.
almost the total opposite of Musk's early gamble, isn't it? Buffett was about building that solid foundation, slow and steady, which then let him grab opportunities later. It's like the tortoise and the hare of money strategies for you.
Exactly. And then there's that other thing you mentioned, the fear. The
Yeah.
fear of financial instability. That's such a powerful psychological barrier, isn't
Right.
it? It keeps so many of you just playing it safe, staying in your comfort zone, even if it's not really making you happy. There was a Gallup poll, 2024, showed like 60% of workers are anxious about their financial future.
60%. That's huge.
Yeah, and that constant worry definitely puts a damper on any impulse you might have to innovate or try something new, something you're actually excited about.
It's like this mental cage. You feel trapped inside it. And it's so interesting to contrast that with, say, Jeff Bezos. He walked away from a really good job, right? Hedge fund job, to start Amazon back when the internet was still kind of new and unproven. That must have taken serious guts to overcome that fear of the unknown, a fear I think a lot of you listening can probably relate to.
Absolutely. And his regret minimization framework, that's a really powerful idea for you and you're facing those fears.
Regret minimization.
Yeah, he basically asked himself, okay, years down the line, what would I regret more? Trying this thing and maybe failing. or never even trying at all.
Oh.
And that simple question can sometimes just cut through all the immediate anxiety and help you see the bigger picture, regardless of your bank balance right now. Just tackling that initial fear, that's often the very first step for you.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, and the last big barrier, the paycheck to paycheck trap. This feels like the most common one, maybe. That stat, almost 80% of full-time workers living like that. It's just wild.
It is staggering. And it creates this cycle, right, where it's incredibly hard for you to save anything or invest in yourself, or honestly, even just have the mental space to think beyond the next bill. It's like being stuck on a treadmill.
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay, we've laid out these really significant financial hurdles that, tons of you are dealing with. Debt, no savings, fear, the paycheck cycle,
Right.
which makes this whole week-long $0 experiment even more interesting. How on earth did they even start trying to live a dream life with those kinds of constraints?
Okay, yeah, let's dive into the experiment. Day 1. It was all about defining the dream life. And what's interesting is the first step didn't cost anything. That's a key insight right there for you. It was about looking inward.
Totally. What's really cool for you to notice is how they focused on the non-money parts of a dream life. Journaling, setting goals, using free apps like Notion. It just underlines that clarity, that intention. It's fundamental for you, and it's free. The person doing the experiment even looked at Buffett's disciplined way of scheduling things. They treated their dream-related stuff like real appointments you can't just skip.
So it's about carving out the time.
Exactly. Even if you don't have money to invest, you do have time and focus. You can choose where to put those.
Yeah.
And the strategy of starting small, like writing just 500 words a day, using Google Docs that really echoes Buffett's whole thing about consistent small steps leading to big progress, you could apply that to anything.
Right.
So the key lesson from day 1 for you, clarity and intention, they're free.
It's like the dream life isn't some big, expensive thing you arrive at. It's more like a path you start walking with small, deliberate steps you can take right now. Okay, day 2. That was about free resources, channeling Bezos' early days. I loved the mention of making desks out of doors.
Yeah. That image is great, isn't it? Real resourcefulness.
That's great.
Shows you don't need fancy stuff to start.
Definitely not.
And the experiment really highlighted the amazing amount of free stuff online if you just look for it. Free communities like on X, free ebooks from places like Project Gutenberg, YouTube tutorials. You can learn pretty much anything for free.
It's incredible, really.
And the idea of trading feedback on X, like giving someone comments on their work in exchange for them doing the same for you, that's a clever non-money way to get value.
Yeah.
Kind of like Bezos' early partnerships, Value exchange doesn't always need cash.
That's smart.
So lesson 2 for you. The internet is packed with free resources if you get a bit creative.
It's about being resourceful and seeing value beyond just dollars and cents. Something for you to think about. Okay, day 3 went towards minimalism, inspired by Musk's early, pretty hardcore lifestyle. Sleeping on factory floors, that's some dedication.
It certainly is. And the experiment kind of mirrored that, focusing on the basics. Cooking from cheap staples you probably already have.
Yeah.
Walking for exercise instead of a pricey gym. Decluttering your space, maybe donating stuff.
Right.
It's about consciously choosing what actually adds value for you, rather than just collecting more things. And the big takeaway here for you is that minimalism isn't about feeling deprived. It's more about prioritizing what really matters. It frees up space, physically and mentally, for those dream things.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it really lines up with Musk's focus on impact over just consuming stuff. Something you can think about for your own life.
Yeah.
So lesson 3, minimalism puts value over possessions.
Absolutely. Then day 4, building community. Taking a leaf out of Buffett's book, The Power of Networks. Hosting a free virtual chat on Zoom, joining a library book club, brilliant. Zero-cost ways for you to connect.
And what's fascinating there, for you, is the focus on giving value in those connections. Not just looking for a transaction, offering feedback, sharing ideas, just showing up and listening. That's how you build strong communities, a bit like the long-term relationships Buffett built.
Yeah.
It really drives home that real human connection. That's a kind of wealth, too. It goes beyond money. Lesson 4 for you, authentic connections are incredibly valuable.
It's like investing in your social capital, right? Super important. Okay, day 5 tackled the biggie, fear. Looking at Bezos and his risk-taking, the act of just drafting and sharing a blog post for free on X, that feels like a small, doable step you could take.
Exactly. It's about taking real, tangible, but low-stakes actions. facing those fears that might be holding you back. And by reframing money problems not as, I can't do this, but as, okay, how can I do this creatively?
Mhm.
It shifts your focus.
From limitations to possibilities.
Precisely. You start seeing what you can do with what you have. It's kind of like how Bezos saw an opportunity where others just saw obstacles. That mindset shift could be huge for you. So, lesson 5. Small, free actions build momentum and chip away at fear.
Building momentum, facing fears.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely something you can take away. Day 6 was learning and growing, echoing Musk's crazy self-teaching ability.
Right.
Using free Coursera courses, even just auditing them and hitting the library. It's a great reminder for you that learning doesn't always need a massive tuition fee.
Musk's whole story proves how powerful self-learning can be, right? And it's easier than ever for you now. The experiment just highlights how much knowledge is out there, online courses, libraries. By just dedicating time to learn, even without spending, you're directly investing in your future, in your dream life. Lesson 6 for you. Knowledge is super accessible if you're resourceful.
It really levels the playing field, empowers you to take charge of your own growth. Okay, finally, day 7, reflecting and planning. Inspired by Buffett's long view, making a free budget template on Google Sheets to keep the lifestyle going that ties it all together for you.
Yeah, that last step is crucial. It shows this isn't just a one-week stunt. It's about building habits that can actually last for you. Just like Buffett's patient strategic investing, planning out those free activities, keeping track of resources, it creates a sustainable path. It shows you that consistent, low-cost actions can lead to real, lasting change towards that dream life. Lesson 7. Consistency in low-cost actions brings lasting change.
Okay, so pulling back from the day by day, some broader strategies for tackling those money barriers really seem to pop out, both from the experiment and these big names. The first one feels obvious, but important. Start small. Ties right back to Buffett's compounding idea. It sounds almost too simple for you to do, maybe.
It does sound simple, but its power is in the consistency, you know. For you, making coffee at home, canceling a subscription you forgot about, spending just 30 minutes a day on that passion project. These small things genuinely add up.
Like the coffee example.
Exactly. That $5 a day saved on coffee. That's over $1,800 a year. It just shows how those little leaks can turn into real money over time, freeing up resources, even if it's not directly funding the big dream yet.
It's about being mindful, really, knowing where the money's going. Okay, another strategy. Seek new income streams. Kind of like Bezos' early hustle. Doesn't mean you need a whole second job, right?
Not necessarily. It's about you using the free tools you already have access to.
Yeah.
Maybe offering a skill you have on social media.
Yeah.
Starting a simple blog or newsletter about something you know. Even bartering trading skills. That's a zero-cost way for you to get something you need.
Trading skills, interesting.
Yeah. It's just thinking creatively about how you can offer value to others without needing a traditional job structure.
Then there's embrace minimalism, which we talked about with Musk. It's more than just saving cash for you, isn't it?
Oh, much more. It's about consciously needing less stuff, which, yes, reduces your spending, but it also clarifies what's actually important to you. When you're not chasing the next gadget or trend, you have more time, more mental energy for what matters, and often more gratitude for what you already have.
That's a good point. Which leads nicely into shift your money mindset. This feels like the foundation for a lot of this, for you, how you actually think about money.
Totally. It's about seeing money as a tool, maybe even just one tool among many, to
Yeah.
help you reach your goals, instead of seeing it only as a barrier.
Yeah.
That simple switch from, I can't afford it, to, okay, how could I possibly do this for free or very cheaply? That unlocks so much creativity for you.
Yeah.
It forces you to be resourceful, to solve problems differently.
It's like retraining your brain to look for solutions, not just limitations. Really empowering for you. And finally, build community, echoing Buffett again. But it's not just about networking to get ahead financially, is it? For you.
No, not at all. It's about finding your people, making real connections, joining free online groups, local clubs, maybe volunteering for a cause you care about. These offer support, people to bounce ideas off, maybe even collaborators down the line. And just sharing your journey, being open about what you're trying to do, can bring unexpected support your way.
It's recognizing that human connection itself is incredibly valuable, maybe more than money sometimes. And it's not just Musk, Bezos, Buffett who showed this works. The experiment also brought up other real-life examples you might find really inspiring.
Yeah, that's great.
Like Sarah Blakely with Spanx, started with just $5,000, right?
Right.
And used the library for patent research. That's amazing resourcefulness for you to see.
It really is. And J.K. Rowling. writing Harry Potter while she was on welfare, using cafes to stay warm. It just shows you the power of sheer grit and using whatever resources are available, no matter how small they seem.
Yeah.
And Chris Gardner, the Pursuit of Happiness guy, from homelessness to stockbroker, through free training and just relentless networking. It's such a powerful story about spirit and community that you can definitely draw inspiration from.
These stories really make the experiment's findings feel real for you. It's not just theory. People have actually done this, facing huge
Yeah,
challenges.
exactly. They just hammer home those key points for you.
Mhm.
Start small, use free resources creatively, and that all-important mindset shift. They had massive financial roadblocks, but they found ways. That's a powerful message for you.
So, okay, thinking bigger picture. What does all this mean for you? It sounds like, yeah, money problems are real, absolutely, but maybe they don't have to be the final word on whether you can live a life that feels fulfilling.
That's really the core idea we hope you take away. Money matters. Of course it did in our world. But this deep dive really suggests it's not the only thing that matters. Maybe not even the most important thing when it comes to you finding meaning and purpose. The experiment showed this shift,
Mm.
right? From focusing on what you lack to seeing the possibilities all around you, free libraries, community support, chances to learn and grow without spending. It points you towards a life based more on, I don't know, authenticity, purpose, making a difference,
Mhm.
rather than just chasing dollars.
So, wrapping things up for you, this whole deep dive into living a dream life without spending money. Okay, it's definitely challenging, no question, but it really reveals how powerful things like resourcefulness, your mindset, and your connections are. These are assets you probably already have.
Hmm.
We saw how the experimenter, inspired by Musk, Bezos, Buffett, found practical, free strategies and, crucially, shifted their perspective. Hopefully it sparks some ideas for you too.
And we see from those other stories, these aren't just nice ideas. Real people have overcome huge financial hurdles using these exact principles. It's definitely something for you to hold on to.
Yeah. Right. So here's a little something for you, our listener, to chew on. Think about one part of your dream life. Just one thing you've maybe put on the back burner because you thought, I can't afford that.
Okay.
This week, challenge yourself. Can you brainstorm 3 completely free ways you could take just one tiny step towards it, inspired by what we talked about? What's one zero-cost action, however small, you could take?
And maybe, thinking even broader for yourself, how could you start to reframe your own financial constraints? Could they actually be
Ah.
opportunities? Opportunities for more creativity, maybe deeper connections, like the experiment showed. It's about looking beyond just the bank account and seeing the wealth that's already there, your time, your skills, your community.